girls, hello, welcome back to the YouTube. I've got a real thing right now about talking in my car. I really like it. Now I've figured out I can put my camera there. I'm feeling it. Like, I'm sorry you can see that it's like a movie in the background, all the traffic moving, but we're here for the vibes, right? So, I just want to say first of all, thank you so much if you do watch my YouTube. I still find it really weird, like, that anyone actually watches me, because, like, occasionally someone will tag me in their story with like my YouTube on their TV or their laptop, and I just think that's wild. Like, you actually are taking the time to watch me, which is really strange. It makes me quite embarrassed. But yeah, like I just want to say thank you if you're here and if you do take the time to watch my YouTube videos. Obviously, I love making them. YouTube's a weird one because there's no real like reward at the start. Do you know what I mean? Like, you are just kind of making them because you genuinely like it. I don't feel like people could do YouTube if they didn't love it. It's a lot of kind of editing, a lot of work. Like, YouTube, I'd say, is the most time consuming thing out of all of it. Like, TikTok, Instagram are all great, but YouTube takes the longest, 100%. And if you have problems with editing, then that's a whole other story. So yeah, we don't talk about that. But yeah, it's just like, you know, it's one of those things. I really enjoy it. I think as well, because I work from home and I work on my own, I do get lonely quite a lot. Like, I've spoken about this quite a few times. Like, I do just get really lonely in the daytime, and I like, because we put the gym in our basement and everything, which I'm so grateful for. Like, so happy that obviously you saved for that and like we were able to do that. But sometimes I just don't want to train in there because I'm like, well, I've spent all day here on my own and now I'm going to go downstairs in the same building and train. And literally, like, the only person I can see all day is Travis. But obviously in the morning he goes to work, we leave at 7, and then he comes back, like, we are reunited at like 4. So sometimes between like 7 and 4 it's just me. And I know a lot of people might think that's normal if you work from home, but I just get really lonely. So I find YouTube's actually a really good outlet for me, because I feel like I'm talking to someone, which I am, I'm talking to you guys, but it's really helping my loneliness, because when I start to feel really lonely, I'm just like, oh, let's just whip the camera out, and then whilst we're doing this thing, we can talk, and it just, yeah, it's helping my loneliness. So if you also work from home and you've been feeling lonely, try YouTube, because it helps, trust me. Even if you make it and don't even post it, like, I feel like just the output of feeling not stupid, like, if I just stood in my kitchen and just spoke to myself, with no camera, I'd be like, what are you doing? But because I'm doing it with the camera, I'm like, no, it has purpose, you know? I feel like I know who I'm talking to, because I know, like, a few of the girls that watch my YouTube, I feel like I'm talking to you personally. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, anyway, shall we get into the Q&A? Because basically I put a question box in my story the other day and I got way more questions than I expected. So I answered a lot on Instagram, but I was like, well, I might as well make a YouTube out of this, because there's loads of stuff that needs to be answered. And even if I did answer on Instagram, I thought, well, I can answer it in a bit more detail on here. So let's get into it. Right, let's go straight in. The first one that I've got to answer is, how often do you have a real treat? For example, a naughty takeaway. This is a hard one. Like, it really does depend on the time of year, the occasion. I'd say in general, I like an actual takeaway like once every 2 months, maybe 3 months. Like, I really don't have takeaways often. They make me feel like shit. I think just because my body gets so used to just home cooked food. Like, I don't use a lot of like rich products. Like, I don't eat a lot of like cream and rich cheeses and stuff like that. I don't cook in oil, I cook in like fry light, you know, so my body is, I think, very used to just all this kind of natural, like, whole foods and like lots of just normal stuff. So then if I ever have a takeaway, like, my stomach just rejects it. Like, I go into agony, like cramps and like keeled over. So I really do like to kind of stay away from it as much as possible, not even just for health reasons, but for the fact that it just makes me feel like I'm in pain. So yeah, I'd say really probably once every 2 to 3 months. And if I do have a takeaway, I kind of like to make kind of like good options. So like, there's a few places like near us that I like to get food from that I know won't hurt my stomach. So like, we have a thing called Sabi's. It's kind of like Nando's, but they don't have the calories on the menu or anything, but it's like grilled chicken basically, and you can get it in wraps and burgers and stuff. So like, I would favour having that over like a Chinese or a Domino's or something like that. Both of those things cause me to just be in ridiculous pain. Same with like chip shop. Like, I haven't had that I can't remember the last time I had that, like, because it would just make me, like, just really uncomfortable. Like, my stomach would just reject it. I do think I have some sort of intolerance to something that's in oil that they fry things in, because if I ever have Nando's chips or McDonald's chips, which isn't very often, if I ever do, I get like a really bad stomach ache. And I've always thought, well, it must be to do with either the coating on the chips at Nando's and McDonald's or what they're frying it in. So not really sure. But yeah, the true answer there is probably once every 2 to 3 months. If I could really be in control of it, probably like less than that, really. Like, I'd like to, like, the thing is, like, when I have a proper takeaway, I don't know, like, if you're meaning, like, you know, Chinese, Indian, stuff like that, I don't really have that ever, just because I know it hurts my stomach, and it's not really my favourite. Whereas I love, like, a Nando's, or if I'm gonna have pizza takeaway, I'd get Pizza Express, because I know Domino's and all the other ones, like Papa John's and stuff, just, yeah, too rich for me. Like, it just, my stomach doesn't agree with it. But yeah, like, I'd have Pizza Express if I was gonna have a takeaway pizza. And yeah, I don't really order takeaway like that, but if I was gonna have it, it would definitely be Sabi's, Nando's, or Pizza Express. So someone said they'd really love a series of my go-to staples, like skincare and all sorts and stuff that just helped enhance my lifestyle. So that's not really a question, it's more of a suggestion, but I am going to do that. So I think I'm going to do a video on it on YouTube, and I might do like a mini video for TikTok and Instagram, not sure yet. I find ones like that hard because I want to yap, but on TikTok and Instagram they don't want you to yap for too long. So yeah, I do find that one difficult, but yeah, I'm probably going to do a video on here because I do have quite a few products that I love and that I really think, you know, like, people deserve to know about. So I will do that at some point. But yeah, thanks for that idea because that was really helpful. Next question was, how long should the average cut last if it was a little steeper than usual? So there's no real answer to that, really. Like, it's personal preference. It's also personal kind of like circumstance, like how much fat do you want to lose or have to lose. But I'd say most people do between a 6 to 12 week cut. Anything longer than 12 weeks is pretty taxing on the mind, and anything shorter than 6 weeks, like, you don't tend to see that much of a crazy difference. Like, I've done like 4-week mini cuts before, but like, I haven't been in a position where I had loads of fat to lose. Like, it's just like a quick tidy up. Whereas if I was cutting, I would like probably do like 10 weeks minimum, and yeah, just like really like set a time scale and just go for it like that. The thing is, when you have a time scale, you can work out like the average you want to lose a week, and then you can like have a goal, if you know what I mean. So I find that really helpful. But honestly, like, everyone cuts differently, so it really depends what position you're in. But I would say the average is between 6 to 12 weeks. Anything longer is more of like a fat loss phase rather than a cut. And anything shorter than 6 weeks, like, you know, it isn't gonna make too much of a difference, depending on obviously how steep you're talking. But you don't want to do it too steep for a really short period, because that's just going to be unhealthy. So the best thing, in my opinion, to do is to be in a healthy deficit, but for a little bit longer. The next one is, I want to start a fitness journey and eat healthier, but I don't like fruit. So what do? I would say, number one, don't worry about it. If you don't like it, you're not going to eat it, are you? So we can't force you. But I would say try vegetables. You only said fruit, so I'm assuming you like veg. So that's fine, because you'll still get your micronutrients in there. Also, have you tried smoothies? Because you could blend your fruit. I don't know if you just don't like the flavour of it at all, but if you like smoothies, you could blend your fruit into a smoothie and still have your 5 a day that way. Or you could even try just like supplementing, obviously, your like vitamins and stuff that you would get from your fruit normally. Like, you could have greens powder, like, you know, there's loads of ways you could do that. You know, your macros as well, like your protein, your carbs, your fats, they're gonna mostly come from like your whole foods that are like, you know, your protein sources, your like potatoes and stuff like that, your pasta. They're not gonna come from your fruit and veg. Your fruit and veg is more so like your micronutrients mostly. So, you know, it's really not the end of the world. You can still definitely get fit and healthy without fruit. Obviously, I would recommend trying some fruit and seeing if you could have some of it in your diet, but it's not the end of the world. I've coached people before that literally won't eat fruit or veg. Don't get me wrong, it was hard to make a appealing looking meal plan, but they still got great results. They still saw what they wanted, and one of them even at the end started eating carrots, so that was a big achievement. Someone then said, I want to purchase your glute diaries, but should I get the cutting diaries first? The answer to that is it really depends on what is your primary goal. Are you looking to lose fat first and then build your glutes, or are you more focused right now on not really too worried about your fat and you want to just build your glutes and then you could cut after? So you could do it both ways. It really depends on what is more important to you right now. Do you want to have a leaner waist and kind of lean out everywhere and then reverse and build up your glutes, or would you prefer to build up your glutes and then lose the fat afterwards? Both ways are possible. Both ways need to be done properly, because obviously you could just end up building up your glutes and then losing your glutes and your fat if you go into too much of an intense fat loss phase after. So that is why I would definitely recommend, if you are unsure in doing either of those processes, getting my guide, because it will help you do them and it will just avoid you wasting time and not seeing the results that you probably want. So that is what I would say on that. Someone said, how do I not feel exhausted on a cut and keep my muscle? This is hard. If you're feeling exhausted, you need a diet break, you're obviously eating too little and doing too much. At the end of the day, when I was cutting, don't get me wrong, there were days where I was tired, but I was never exhausted. I never felt like I needed to take a break from it. I never felt like I was eating too little. I was always full. I was always satisfied. And I chose the more... I prefer personally, if I'm cutting, to move more than to eat really little. I don't want to be sat there starving. I don't want to be sat there I can't have potatoes with this meal because I've got no calories left. I would rather eat more and move more, and that is what I always did. So I did maybe more cardio than a lot of people would have done in their cuts. I did maybe more steps than some people might do, but that is literally just because I didn't want to be eating rabbit food, So yeah, I would say if you're feeling super exhausted, you maybe need to have a look at your calories and revise them. Maybe you actually need to eat a bit more, and also maybe you just need a week or two diet break to go back to maintenance, get yourself feeling recovered and replenished, and then see how you feel after that. Because if you're feeling exhausted, then that's quite extreme, and obviously you're clearly not giving your body what it needs, and maybe you're not getting very good night's sleep and stuff because of it. Because if someone's really hungry, they can often wake up a lot during the night, and then obviously that can lead you to feeling exhausted. So yeah, I'd say revise your calories. Maybe if you haven't got a coach, get them to do it properly for you. Some people waste a lot of time trying to just wing things themselves and actually end up just giving up on it because, for example, they're exhausted. So they just think, oh, well, cutting's not for me. I obviously can't do it because I get too tired, when really they could get a coach, go in and out of their cut within 10 weeks, see the results they want, and then be eating way more food again. So it's just about kind of knowing that you're doing it right. I don't think you should be feeling exhausted right now. Next question was, how can I stick to my calories and stop gorging on chocolate? Good question. Don't get me wrong, I love chocolate. We all love chocolate. We don't need to stop eating chocolate. We don't need to cut chocolate out. But if you're gorging on it, that kind of indicates to me that either you are starving and, you're not satisfying yourself elsewhere. Do you know, a lot of people overeat because they are under-eating in their meals. So, for example, when I have my breakfast, afterwards, I am not hungry until lunchtime. I do not feel the need to snack. I do not feel the need to go and eat anything else. I do not feel that, if someone said to me, here's this pack of chocolate, I would probably be like, oh, thanks, I'll go put it in the cupboard. I would not feel the need to open that and gorge on it. But that is because my body and my mind are satisfied from what I'm eating. So maybe you need to look at what you're eating day to day. Are your meals exciting? Are they satisfying you? Are they filling you up? Have they got protein in them? I used to skip breakfast and then literally just eat loads in the evening, and I just never understood. I'd be like, oh, but I'm fine all morning. I'm obviously not hungry because, I can go till 2 p.m. without eating. But then after 2 p.m, the minute I ate something, I'd be like a bottomless pit. And that's because I wasn't satisfying myself in the morning. So actually what I do now is I eat breakfast about 9ish at the moment. And then I'll have lunch. I aim for about 1:30, but because of work it normally ends up being more 2. And then we have dinner normally about 6:30, 7 at the moment. So my meals are really spaced out, and then if I want a snack I normally have that after dinner. So as you can see, because I've got my meal spacing right and what I'm actually eating in my meals right, I don't feel the need to gorge on chocolate or kind of snack on anything crazy. The only time where I might find that I'm tempted to go crazy in the chocolate is when I'm due on my period. So PMS week, totally different. I honestly, all I think about is food. I still stick to my meals and I don't go crazy, but like I might have an extra snack that I normally wouldn't, just because my body is just like tricking me and my mind is like, food, sweets, chocolate, because as females we basically experience like a spike in like cravings when we're like due on our period, or some people get it on their period, some people get it before. I personally get it the week before. When I'm actually on my period, I'm fine. Like I came on today and I like feel absolutely fine, but if I was the week before, like I was last week, like I literally, like every night after I eat my dinner, like I should be full because I've just had my dinner, but I'd sit there and be like, what can I eat next? Like, what's next for today? When normally I wouldn't really be like that. So yeah, the only kind of thing with that is obviously it could be hormonal, but if you're finding it's a consistent problem of gorging on chocolate, then that suggests maybe it's more kind of a lack of what you're eating around the chocolate. It's not satisfying you, it's not filling you up, so it's leaving you with room to think about, and then therefore eat a lot of chocolate like alongside it. Or maybe you're thinking to yourself, oh well, I'll just skip lunch today because I ate loads of chocolate, but then that's going to make it worse, because then you're going to still be hungry, your body's not satisfied, and you'll probably end up eating even more chocolate later on in the day. Now this is a really, really good one and so common. So someone said, what do I do when I lose my love for the gym? I've trained for 3 years and I just don't feel that same kind of buzz, that same excitement anymore. I don't know what to do about it. So this is really, really interesting because so many people feel like this. I know I've felt like this before, 100%. I go through phases. I definitely go through phases with the gym. Like, sometimes I love it, sometimes I just really kind of fall out of it. I feel like my love comes and goes, like based on time of year, definitely, and also like my goal. Like when I was cutting in 2023, I like, at first I like, my love for the gym was like solid, like I really loved it, but I got to a point where I was like I was getting leaner, so like I really hated my leg days because I was just like, well, like every week it felt like my glutes were getting smaller, which like technically they were, because obviously I was losing body fat, so I was losing body fat everywhere, even on my bum. So obviously it was hard because although they looked rounder and more shapely and they had more muscle in them, they felt smaller in like my gym clothes because obviously I was losing fat. So it was really hard, and I just lost my love for leg day. I was just like, I just can't be asked to do leg day anymore. Like I just feel like I'm just losing my glutes anyways, what's the point? So I feel like my phases depend on whether I love the gym or not. Like at the moment I'm just maintaining, like I'm just, I'm eating around maintenance, like I'm not cutting or bulking or anything, and I am seeing progress and I'm feeling like my glutes are growing. I actually saw some pictures the other day and I was like, whoa, like I did not realise my glutes got that small. And then I saw them now and I was like, wow, I've actually really made some progress over the past year and a bit, so I was really buzzing with that. But I was also like, shit, like I didn't realise they got that flat. But it just shows your body fluctuates, your love for the gym fluctuates. Like one thing I did was I started doing other things like as well, because I feel like when your life's just like gym, eventually you get to a point where you're like, right, okay, like do I have anything else about me, or am I just a gym goer? Like, so like I started reformer Pilates this year, which really helped me. I also go to paddle once a week with Travis, which really is really nice. Like, so I have other forms of movement now. So if there was a week where I just didn't really fancy the gym, I would probably just book on a couple more reformer sessions and just not go to the gym and like go to paddle with Travis, and then I'd still be moving and I'd still, be getting the endorphins and feeling good about myself, but I wouldn't be forcing myself to go to the gym. And sometimes, like distance makes the heart grow fonder, doesn't it? So if I ever have a week away from the gym, I really appreciate it because I'm like, oh my god, I can't wait to get back to the gym. So maybe you just need a little bit of time out the gym to remind you why you like the gym or how much you love the gym. I feel like sometimes a step back is a step forward, so that could be a really good idea actually. Just like take a week off, maybe try other things, don't go to the gym, and then see if you miss it, because if you do miss it, then you'll be buzzing to go back. Next question is, I would love to start working out in the morning, but I feel so weak. Do you have any suggestions? So this is a really good one. Obviously everyone is different. So me, for example, I don't suffer in the morning. I don't feel weak. I don't feel like fatigued. I actually feel quite energetic in the morning, but I feel like that is just me personally. I know a lot of people that don't feel like that. I also am very used to and accustomed to training fasted, like I always have. If I'm doing like an intense leg day or something early in the morning, then I might have like a pre-workout snack, but I never have my breakfast before I train because I get up at 5 a.m. Like I don't want to be in the kitchen chefing up my breakfast at 5 a.m. Like, I don't have time for that. And to do my session, like, you know, we're on a tight schedule here. That's why I'm getting up at 5 a.m. So, yeah, the thing is for me, right, so if I'm getting up at 5 a.m., I'm training at 5:30, I don't have time to be having breakfast in that time. I don't want to be getting up at 4:30 just to eat. And then I would be starving if I ate breakfast at, say, like 5 a.m. and then when am I having lunch? What, 7 hours later at 12? That's crazy. No way. Like, that for me just wouldn't work. And I don't wake up hungry. I feel like I just wake up, like, it's almost like I've got all my energy from my dinner the night before in the morning. So yeah, I would have like a pre-workout snack, maybe some rice cakes or something, but I will never be eating breakfast at 5 a.m. Like, you're never going to catch me doing that. So I'm lucky in that sense that I don't suffer even though I don't eat breakfast. But I would say try different pre-workout snacks that you want, like a slow release energy kind of like carb. A lot of people have, like, you know, rice cakes with honey and salt on. A lot of people have like squares bars and stuff. Like, find out what works for you. It might even be that you need food, but if you're like me and you don't have time or don't want to make food, you could make a protein shake, you know, with some like Greek yogurt, a banana and stuff in it, put some protein in it, and then you're getting those calories and that energy from that food, but it's in like a blend rather than obviously having it like as a meal. Like, I can't think of anything worse than making my scrambled eggs on toast at 5 a.m. Like, I don't know how anyone does that. This will probably be the last one. So, what is your weekly split? I'm trying to adjust mine for a little refresh. So, glad you asked, because it's a bit different to probably the last time I actually spoke about my training split. So, this year, the approach is I just want to be happy. I honestly just want to be happy. So, I'm just doing what makes me happy. So, I personally don't want to grow my upper body anymore. I'm happy with how it is. I just want to maintain it. I'm not looking to get any bigger. I'm not looking for like my back to grow or anything like that. I've got quite a small frame. I am quite a small person. Like, I don't want my muscles to grow any bigger. That is just my own personal preference. So instead of like progressively overloading as such on my upper body, I do one upper body day a week in the gym with strength training, and I just like work till like just before failure type of thing, if you know what I mean. And it's just to keep maintaining that muscle and to keep me moving, but I'm not looking to grow or to get any bigger on my upper body at the moment. It's just not one of my goals. So I do one upper body a week. I do 2 leg days. Both are mainly glute focused. I don't do as much quads anymore, just because my quads are way more dominant than my glutes. But a lot of my glute exercises engage my quads anyway. So like a Bulgarian split squat, that's going to do both. So, you know, I do have a lot of quad exercises in there, but they're not like primarily quads. I do sometimes use a leg extension every now and then, just because I like a little leg extension, but I mostly train for my glutes and hamstrings this year. So yeah, 2 leg days, 1 upper body day, and then I have a cardio goal. So at the moment I'm doing 120 minutes of cardio a week. I split that differently. Sometimes I do 2 60-minute sessions. Sometimes I do a 60, a 45 and a 15. The 15 will be post leg day. And then the 45 and the 60 will be their own sessions. Obviously I often train at home, so then I will do the cardio session either after that and go to the gym, or I will do it on its own separate day. And then I also go to Reformer Pilates once a week if I can, and I also go to paddle. So it's a bit of a mix and match. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's a bit of a mashup basically. But it's just for my own personal goals and preference at the moment. So I wouldn't say copy it for anything in particular, but if you're like me and you sound like you think you have similar goals, you know, you're not looking to grow your upper body as much anymore, but you want to like grow your glutes, but you want to be happy and try new things, like, and you want to keep yourself physically fit and a little bit leaner. Like, I like my waist to be tighter. I like to be able to see my abs every now and then, so I will keep that cardio there just for the expenditure. I also really enjoy the Stairmaster. I know people think I'm weird for that, but I do. So yeah, I would say my split is worth trying if you think you have similar kind of situations to me. Okay, this actually is the last one, but someone said, I'm struggling with what to eat to lose weight. Can you help me? Right, so number one, obviously, like, I have multiple ways that can help you. There's loads of food inspo on my socials. There's also videos on YouTube that are like meal prepping and recipes and stuff. I also have an e-guide, or have 2 e-guides with meals in. Both the glute diaries and the cutting diaries have meals in them. And then I also obviously am an online coach, so for my clients I do their meals for them as well. But I also just posted on Instagram today, which will be a few days later when I post this, but I posted it on Tuesday the 7th of January. It's basically a photo of me in the gym wearing a black all-in-one, but on that post is 3 full days of eating inspiration to fit into a calorie deficit. So 3 days of eating with different meals and ideas for you to fit into your calorie deficit and help you lose fat. So go and have a look at that because it will be really helpful. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for watching. This was really cute. This was like literally like a little girly chit chat. Absolutely loved it. And obviously it was nice to be able to answer some questions. If you've got any more questions, obviously you can pop them in the comments box or DM me on Instagram. But I will catch up with you next week. And who knows what the next video will be. I've got loads of ideas. I wrote them down in my notes. So I'm going to just start ticking through them. But yeah, thank you so much as always. And just have a lovely week.